Welcome, and this is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green.
Ekabo, and welcome to the Ifa Orisa traditional family discussion. And your host for this afternoon is Awo Iwaliwa.
All right, I say welcome again, Ekabo. Welcome to all. As you give praise. Moshe Iba, Olodumare, Moshe Iba, Iyami, Moshe Iba, Babami. Moshe Iba Yami, Moshe Iba Orishami, Moshe Iba Egbemi, Moshe Iba Iyami, Moshe Iba Yen Ilale, Moshe Iba Boborisha, Moshe Iba Babalorishami, Moshe Iba Yalorishami, Moshe Iba Ojubonami, Moshe Iba Bobo Olorisha Patapata, Moshe Iba Bobo Onifa Patapata, Iba Ashe, Iba Ashe, Iba Ashe, Ashe Orisha. Just paid homage and tribute to the ancestors and all prominent people in our life that assist us to continue to work in this party of Ifa Orisa. You say Ashe? Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
So welcome again to all our viewers and followers. Let's week somebody the hero's journey, as Baba Falukanda said, where we talk about initiations or taking the journey towards initiation. Most people, their practice in Ifa Orisa really starts in initiation. But in reality, our practice starts even before initiation, because initiation is supposed to be like we're taking that deeper step into what we want to be part of. You know, it's not like, oh, I like this Orisa thing, I want to be in it, and so you just initiate. It's good to understand and know what the practice is about, what the whole lifestyle is. So when you initiate yourself, you know, there's no turning back. Because a lot of people say they want to initiate, and why I not me and them people are not me, because you don't initiate into a people group. Your initiation is your personal development. It is your growth. So it comes like you are taking your personal rites of passage, through either Ori initiation, Egun initiation, ancestral initiation, what called Orisa initiation, Ifa initiation. But all initiation really is to just put in alignment to your destiny or your life path.
Sure.
Right? Remember, we would say there's Esentaye, our first rites of passage from a child. Then there's different puberty rites of passage as you go old. Even as an elder, there's rites of passage into eldership. You know, in the diaspora, we might just become an elder, but we are not celebrated. Because when you do a Sentai, you celebrate the birth of the child. When you do the puberty rites of passage, you celebrate the youths, the young ones enter into the puberty age. When you do the rites of passage for the eldership, it's really celebrating the elders reaching in that position of eldership. So it's really like a celebration as you go. So we could say, well, birthday parties. You know what? It might be a birthday party like. So when we look at some of the things we should be doing or on the journey to initiation, is that we should first be aware, what am I initiating into? So when you get in there, you won't be in problems, you won't understand what it is. So I'll just read 5 basic things, right, to be able to do before initiation.
Okay.
And this is what I think we just strike out. So when we tell people about the Osher day, the Osher calendar, that is one thing people should get familiar with, the Osher calendar, because that will be the first thing. Because when you initiate, you say now you have to connect with your Orisa every 5 days. So when you initiate, you don't have to now try to catch up and answer, well, what's supposed to be. So if you never get the calendar, you will never be in tune or in sync. So if you're already familiar with the Osha Day, the Osha calendars, when you initiate now, it's just fitting your Orishas, fitting the deities that you have to connect with, that your initiation would reveal to you. So you might say, oh, Oshun is my thing because I did dance Oshun when I was 5, I would this, Oshun gave me this. But when they do initiation, they say, oh, you're a child of Yemoja. But in your mind before initiation, you only see Oshun. But you want to know Oshun would have just played a part in your life to carry you through the journey, because just as our boyfriend or girlfriend has come in your life to awaken something in us, Oshun would have played a part, but the initiation will reveal, okay, this person have to receive Yemoja.
Okay.
Right? So now you're already familiar with the Orishas. You now know, well, now every 5 days I have to appease Yemoja. So you don't connect, you don't know about the calendars, you appease it. So what I think is observing the calendar. And this is, I think, every practitioner of Orisha, Ifa, should know and should try to get in tune with your Osha calendar. We have the 4-day calendar, and then we have the 7-day calendar. In tradition, the 7-day calendar is kind of like the work week. So you start the work, OJ, you start the week on Monday connecting with RJ because you want wealth and prosperity to be on the journey for the end of the week. Weekend is celebrate. Sunday we worship, Ojo Aiku Sunday, and we ask God that we have long life and blessings and thing. So the 4-day calendar will always know us when is the energy or what is the Orisha, that energy that is operating today on this day. So you know, is Ifa child, we do it on Osha Ifa. So we always keep in a cycle and okay, this is Ifa day. So let me connect with Ifa and the Orisha surrounding Ifa.
Which I think, by the way, Baba, is tomorrow is Osha Ifa. Today is Obatala.
Yeah. All right. So you see, so once as practitioners, Obatala people should be already doing their Osha Obatala today. And then tomorrow, Osha Ifa devotees. The day after, you have Ogun worshippers and all those Orishas with Ogun. And then you will have Jakuta and all the Orishas with Jakuta Shambu. All right. Another thing, the second thing we should know before we initiate, because it will be an important part of us when we initiating, is reciting Ijuba or reciting Iba, or paying homage and respect or reverence to the Orishas, ancestors, and whatnot. Because when we do initiation, now remember, initiation gives you a stronger connection. You'll now receive the icon of the Orisha or the icon of Ifa. You now have your calabash with your Ikens, or you have your calabash with your stone or whatever for the Orisha. So now you have a direct connection. But so now you already know how to give praise. You don't know how to do your Iba. You don't know how to do your Mojuba or your Ijuba. So it's always good to practice the Ijubas before initiation, because that is your connection. So when you receive your Orishas, you now have the ability now to get a better connections and can respond to them. All right. Thirdly, you say recite Oriki, Egungun, Eshu, Ori. These are the important aspects in our growth and development, because these are the 3 things that will basically help us to go through our initiation. Eshu, because he is to open the door, or he is to basically receive our offerings and prayers. Different aspects of Eshu will operate in different periods of our initiation ceremonies. So it's good that you already have a familiarity with Eshu. Remember, our ancestors plays an important part in our initiation. Their ancestors is one who had already opened the road to us. So now they would carry us through the way we have to reach or what we have to receive in our initiation. And then you have the Ori, which would have chosen the destiny. So initiation would have already been preordained, because you already know you are going to do this initiation. This is what it is you are going to achieve. So we connect. So these are 3 important aspects in your process when you reach that stage of initiation. So that's why it's good that you have a good connection with them. So when that stage, it will be a smooth initiation. Because as I say, like you know, everything just runs smooth without any hindrances and any problem. So you have that support of those powerful beings to assist you. That Trinity, your Ori, your ancestors, and Eshu. Then you have performance of Obi divination. Now, it's not to say you are going to initiate, so you have to do any divination. But it's saying, once you are familiar and understand the simple readings of Obi divination, when we see what has fallen, we can appreciate because we know the answer. You know, it comes as when you see certain revelations of the Obi speak, and you could celebrate the answer. Now somebody, you're watching it and say, yes, your prayer is accepted. When you pray and you see the Obi open up or laugh or shout at you in its response, you could celebrate. By understanding Obi divination in its basic format, you could say basically you could appreciate, and plus it will be something when you initiate now, you have the right tools, and now because now you are going to connect with your Orisha, you're going to connect with your Ifa, you're going to connect with your ancestors as an initiate. So you want to be able that you could get the correct answers or have proper communication with the spirits. Right? And fifthly, we will speak in terms of Omitutu, Oti, Obi, Epo, and offering. Now, these things we could offer to our ancestors, our Ori, our Orishas, before we even initiate. So when we initiate, we could take it always a step level higher, and we now put it with more ashe. All right? Because offering is important, is an important part of our thing. Simple as water, we understand water. We understand the significance of Oti, the significance of Obi, as Ebo, and palm oil, Epo. So we moved to a different level of initiation, but we already have it in us. So in order to initiate, and yes, you don't know how to offer rum, you don't know if to offer water, you don't know if to offer Obi. Understand? So now we go back, ancestors, make this ritual a success for us, because you don't know. But it's always good that you could know before. So when that point of after initiation, you already have the basic tools to grow in your initiation now, so you don't have to now go back to ABC after initiate, but you're already there, because initiation is like a rebirth or ascension to the next level. All right? So I don't know if you want to add anything or questions.
Well, Baba, I mean, you know, I don't really have anything to add. I think most of the stuff that you've covered are all of the essentials. But as we've discussed in previous streams, is that there are different levels to initiation. And I guess what you were discussing tonight is in particular ritual initiation. And many of the ritual initiations that are performed in the community, many of them are basically closed, meaning that only members of the community are exposed or witness these particular rituals. Nonetheless, you may have mentioned some of them, you know, but at the same time, we know we're not at liberty to discuss specific aspects of ritual initiation. But it is very, very important for persons who are interested and are willing to learn, you know, that before they initiate, they be taught certain fundamental things so that they would know exactly the decision that they are making and the type of commitment that they are getting themselves into. So that's basically the only thing that I would probably wish to add to what you've already said.
All right. All right. Because it's really saying initiation is like you are making a serious decision in life. Right? Today somebody would have asked me, do you have to shave off your hair for initiation? Well, for full initiation, you may have to. But it's not necessarily, but remember the significance of shaving your hair is mean that you are giving up something of your life. You're giving up a part of your life to receive Ifa into your life. So if you reach a stage where you say, oh, I have to cut my hair, then you are not really ready to make that commitment fully. You might have the money, but are you really serious in making that step to say, well, okay, yes, I'm ready to give up? It comes just as somebody going to baptize or to take the initiation to any other religion. You have to give up something. So you may say you have a goat to offer, you have a pig to offer, you have chicken to offer, you have duck to offer, you have info, and other things to offer. But those are things you went and purchased. What are you really giving of yourself, giving up in your life that you have held on for so long that you're ready to let go and open your hands to receive Ifa?
Baba, seeing that your topic is initiation,
journey towards.
I might want you to explain the word initiation in layman's term, because for some people who are not familiar with the tradition, they may take the word initiation to mean something somewhat different. So I think it would only be fair, if the subject is initiation, for you to attempt in some way to simplify the word initiation, because the viewers may need to be clear on what it actually is or what it entails. Also, in giving your definition too, you would be able to compare it to how other people become involved in other traditions, cultures, or religious practices.
All right. Some people may term like Esentai, they'll say that is the first initiation as a baby, but those are rites of passage. And there are different rites of passage in our life. But now when we talk about initiation, remember, initiation means that you are entering into a fold. It comes like you are joining this particular group where there are certain rites or certain rituals that you have to hold personal and dear. Or you are coming out to join our fraternity. So you will be exposed to certain mysteries that belongs to us that you will be part of, but to receive it, you have to go through this ritual.
All right. So then, Baba, let me put it this way, or let me ask a question. Would it be similar to accepting an altar call? Would it be similar to taking Shahada? Would it be similar to any first step that is made by a person who decides that they want to be a part of either a tradition or a religion? Is it the same thing?
Well, yes, because I was coming there. So it comes as, now, if you're baptized, you just went through the ritual of baptism. So baptism is like a rite of passage.
Yeah, but is it the first step though? Because the word initiation implies to start something.
Right. So it is an initiation, or you are entering into a new fold. It comes like you say you're born again. Right? So from this point of your initiation, you are bound by these rules. You are bound by these precepts. You are bound, no matter whatever your life was before. You have now chosen a pathway amongst, because now you have taken a role of part of a society. Now people initiate and think, well, I initiate, so I don't have to listen, but I pay for my initiation. No, you have taken a role to be part of a society. In lodges, we say fraternities or sororities, right? That's why I say initiate into Ifa has two different levels. So a personal initiation come like you take a hand Ifa. So there are certain things where you are personalized, that's yours, that's your hand. There's initiation we call Egbodu, where you go into Odu, and there's certain things. So what you do inside there, you can't tell nobody. Because what happened in the Egbodu or the grove of Odu is between you, the Babalao, and the Ojubona who's there. So you have to hold a secret. It comes just as how went down. You used to go in the Mona's room. When you go in the Mona room, it used to be only people who went into that Mona room or who has went through the ritual of mourning could enter into your mourning. It's not no way any and everybody could walk in and sit down because you're mourning and we come to get support. You was to pass through that initiation of entering the inner chamber of the Mona's room, in which you now are going to be initiated into that fraternity to understand certain mysteries. So when you come out, you are just now going to start a different journey. Just as when we come out of Ifa initiation, we now start a different journey. Remember, we didn't deal with Ela, but now we are connected to Ela. We are connected to Odu. We are connected to Ifa. So now that Trinity now is taking a particular role in your life now because you made a covenant. We have drunk water in the earth. You made us an oath within the earth. Some will do initiation, rub a knife on the throat. So now whatever I did here in this ritual, it stays between me and the brothers and sisters of the fraternity. Now, like, okay, you're baptized. That was a baptism, and certain rituals is rites of passage, where you just join the fraternity to be part of the brotherhood. But now when you want to go into a different level, that when the training, the teaching, the wider, knowledge.
Then, Baba, you just move from initiation to now the term ritual.
No, the initiation is based on rituals.
I mean, for the average viewer who is not a member of the community, and you're using all these words, you taking it for granted that people know. What if I don't know what you mean when you say ritual?
All right.
The only ritual I know per se is the coffee store, where I could go and get a cup of coffee. Ritual.
Right.
So you're using the term. So I'm asking, when you say ritual, what particularly are you talking about?
All right, the rituals we will speak of will be certain ceremonial act. They come like is a reportrayal of a journey which the first initiate would have traveled, that one will be going through, and there will be certain ritual. I don't want to go into the details as certain things
all
that
right,
will happen.
So let me ask. Right? So that way you don't have to go into details.
Yeah. So it's a reenactment.
Will it be, for example, when a Muslim make Hajj and goes to Mecca, and has to do very particular things, travel to the Zamzam well, make certain amount of circles around the Kaaba, visit the interior of the Kaaba where he offer prayer. Is this a ritual that could be, I'm not saying it's the same necessarily, but could it be compared to other things, that other acts that are performed repeatedly by all of the devotees of a particular faith? Is it that you're talking about when you use the term ritual?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say yes or no because I'm not sure the Muslim thing, so I don't want to say this. But there is certain enactments. But now, what happened with Ifa? I and you will be going in for the initiation together, so we both get the same date. We get the materials, whatnot. When the ritual start, divination is done. Divination is done for you, divination is done for me. If I say I need to go by the river, if I didn't say that for you.
Yeah, but then Baba, all right, so you could compare that to, well, it can't be baptism. Right. You could compare it
right. I said, within the ritual can be personalized. Each person will have a different journey to think. So ritual means, okay, outside of the reenactment of the journey of the first initiation that one would have traveled, every person would have their personalized experience or personal ritual they may have to do, including of the journey of the first initiate. Now, when we look at certain things, okay, baptism. Baptism is a reenactment of Jesus going into the water, being baptized by John, rising out of the water, being born anew as a new child. Same thing as initiation, we go into a Bodu. We go and we are revealed as to what is our destiny, what this person would have chosen, And now, after coming out with our taboos and what, we have to now follow that pathway. So initiation like rebirth. And I was saying in terms of cutting of the hair, it symbolizes a rebirth. In Ifa, there's certain come like you become a new child. So that way your retirement, your whole look does be like somebody newly born. But not as what we are calling a baby, but one newly born. So, but I don't want to go into initiation too much, because but how do we, in preparation, this is what I say, we need to be familiar with the practices, the basic practices of Ifa Orisa to grow. And a lot of people say, well, I is not Ifa, I want to go in Orisa, but sadly, Orisa need Ifa, because it is Ifa that's going to be full understanding of the Orisa. If we want to know about Ogun, we have to understand Ogunameji. And when Ogun left Orun to come to Aye, and certain things he would have had to go through, and experiences where he became Ogun who he is. And for him to be elevated as a being on earth to become Orisa, it have to identify the good works that Ogun would have done. It's not just how he cleared the pathway for people to leave heaven to come to earth, and then he cut a road from earth for people to go to heaven. Yes, that is one of his functions, but that is not all the functionaries of Ogun. Same thing as with all the other Orishas. So through Ifa, we can understand the whole correlations of Orisa. This is why important. Remember talking last week, I talked about we must create this Ran Ifa, recitations of Ifa where people, we just telling the stories of Ifa. It's not that you're doing no ritual and invocation, but just tell the stories of Orisa and Ifa so we can understand and people can connect certain things with how we come here. All right? Remember saying...
Then I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because we believe in Atunwa. Right? The closest word we get in English is reincarnation. Right? You mentioned the rituals being associated to rebirth. Is this rebirthing related to the process that we went through when we was in Orun, when we went before Oludumare, making a choice to come back to Aye, to Earth, to do a particular deed to help improve humanity? Is the rituals that are being done reminiscent or a sort of a symbolic act that is associated to that particular process? Because at this time, during the ritual, you are reminded of what you agreed to.
Right. I'm not going to say the ritual does give you a reminder, right, of what you would have chosen in Orun before you come to it. That's a Kunleyan and a Kunlegba. A Kunleyan, what you choose, and a Kunlegba, what Olodumare would have had to you will choose and whatnot. All right. Atunwa, or the reincarnation, comes in that if my spirit being or Ipori or Ori has not came to do something, did not complete something, and we have to return to do something, it can be revealed in the initiation as well. Because within initiation in Ifa, it has where there's a communication as to this person's past, present, and future through divination. Right? So I just make that it's covered. Is remembering in terms of our purpose, but also what is where are we, let me say, how are we going right now in life, like the present, what we need to do now in the future, that will be what prescribed Ebo and other things will be prescribed. What would be our past that we have to get in tune with or correct from our past lives. So all those aspects are taken part or contributed to in your initiation.
Okay.
Now, when we look at certain rituals, now everybody does do initiations. Some owners of temples, I will put it that way. Owners of temple, most time their initiation is to build a temple. So even initiation, people can be initiated to different levels of operationals within the temple. All right? There are some initiations where you can initiate to perform certain rites and rituals. All right? They come like, there's, just in terms of being a Baba Ifa, there are those who can recite Ifa, there are those who do divinations, there are those who make medicine, there are those who both do divination and make medicine. So there may be different roles one can initiate into.
Well, Baba, I don't know, Divination seemed to have been a hot topic recently, where we had some official speaking on what is the qualifications for one's ability to divine. And on the basis of what was said by the particular leader of the organization, it would actually neutralize and nullify many people's in the diaspora ability to divine. He says run for the hills.
Right. No, well, remember, we have to be correct, because now, I just always say, they have an advantage because a child will born tomorrow and he will be able to play with an Ikin the day after. Right? We are lucky that even if now it have people would pass an Ikin tree and would not even say, hey, that is Ope, that is an Ikin tree there. But they know if it's to check if it's 6, if it's 3, if it's 4, how much eyes does that palm tree have. So they have the advantage. We who in the diaspora, we had Ifa. We do practice Ifa in a sense, but we never had what I call we don't have a priesthood. So even if we have a lot of people doing feasts, there's not really, when I say we don't have a priesthood, we don't have a collective structure where the priests, see how they had
Baba, you're confusing me. You're confusing me.
Well, I'm coming to the question.
All right, explain it, because I will have questions for you.
All right. We can see in the 16th, the 6th of June, or this week of June last year, or this week, you will do Ifa, the anniversary of Ifa, yearly anniversary, starting of the new year, 10,064. All the priests and the different officers came together to do their ceremony, to celebrate Ifa. There are certain rituals that were done. You had 2 groups, but there was pilgrimage, and there's certain journey they would take all as priests and do their functional and role. We in Trinidad, we have a council of Orisha elders.
We do?
Not knocking the council, not knocking the name. Huh?
Who make up that council, Baba?
Right. That was created in 2000 and I think 2010 something. 2000. Then was Baba Ford, Ia Rodney, and other elders, Sam Phil and other elders deceased.
Baba,
now.
all of these names you're calling, none of them are alive. So what council of Orisha elders?
Right. Now this was saying. Now this was saying. There was a council of Orisha elders, but notice it is
yeah. That's the way they use it. Was.
Right. But notice it was a council. It was not a priesthood, because actually the council was formulated to establish. That was the mandate. I was what, 21 at the time or somebody, 19 or 20. It was to establish a structure of a priesthood. So all the Mugbas and all the feast holders and all the people in Pali would have supposed to come together and they would have structured a priesthood. So yes, you have a certificate of a membership, but you didn't have a pre-structure. Now, when the ministry...
All right, Baba, you're going too fast, because I'm going to question you now. So are you telling me...
Well, I don't have
no, I hope you had the answer, because I'm listening to
Yeah. I just say I don't have the constitution and last minutes of the last set of meetings.
You don't have that. That ain't important to have. So are you telling me my great great grandmother and grandfather
Mm.
who came from West Africa
Mm.
didn't have a concept or a clue of how the society they come from was structured? And are you also telling me that among the people that came, none of them were priests or were
No, I'm
ritualists
not.
or
No,
were
I'm not saying that.
wait, no, it's something like is that you're saying.
All right, well, I'm
Because you are
explaining.
saying to me that a mandate came and you call a year.
No, I said
I am saying
we don't have
prior
a priesthood.
prior to that time, you are telling me that all the ancestors here did not have a means by which they passed on the necessary and requisite knowledge for the persons who succeeded them after the transition? Is that what you are telling me? Because you
No,
telling me,
it had pass on. No, it had people pass on. But I'm saying we didn't have a
Baba,
priesthood. No, listen, what I'm saying,
so
Claire.
what you gonna call the monk ban then?
No, listen, what I'm saying. We didn't have a priesthood, right? A priesthood, that means a structured organization where they would come together at least once a year and discuss and sort out issues between them and help those who might be falling short and elevate those.
Baba, I don't know that that is true. They may not have had a structure with president, vice president, this, that, the other. But I am telling you, among the elders that has maintained the tradition, whether they used to meet informally at each other's feast or at whatever events that was held in the country, they would have agreed to very specific things. They would have agreed on who was to receive training, and they would have also agreed to who reached the level of competence. I am telling you this. I'm not.
No, that was
asking you
then.
this.
No, that was then. That was it. After the council. No, well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. There was a communal agreement. There was a social agreement. Yes, there were elders who sit, but there was also elders who opposed. Look, right now we have a council,
but
international council.
Somehow I believe we need to have a certain level of autonomy, and we don't need somebody to come and only when they give some kind of directive, we need to do this or we need to do that. That's the only time
I'm not saying
I recognize for having something here.
No,
I'm
not saying nobody's supposed to come to do it. Okay. If there's a question as a certain ritual, that we may have different views in different quarters as to that ritual. Okay, I just do the ritual of eschewing, that is ESCHEWING, which we dismiss the negative energies, invoke all the ajoguns and things that you don't want, using the ritual of ashes.
Evoke.
Okay, well, evoke correctly.
Get rid of, yes.
Now, while invoking them, to evoke them, right? Right?
Yeah, go ahead, Baba.
With the calabash of ashes and water, which symbolizes the elements of purification, and in the ritual, I would eschew the negative from the place. There are some people who say they're going to feed Eshu, and they are using the same ashes and water and a short candle to do the same ritual that I would have been doing to Eshu, that they are going to feed Eshu. Now, personally, we can argue as a brother, no, you shouldn't use that term to say feeding Eshu, because Eshu, you're saying they're going to give Eshu ashes to eat. They can have an argument, but I'm saying we can sit and say, okay, there is within our community a ritual. I think let us, as brothers, elders, and teachers, leaders, mukbas, and whatever, babalushas, yalushas, let us put some positive connotation, put some elevation, put some understanding into this ritual, so we won't be having the confusion, because we want to speak in one voice.
Baba, but that will forever be an argument, because let me say this much to you. What you just described is not only a problem we have here. That problem exists even in the motherland.
Yeah.
From tongue to tongue and village to village, there are variations in the practices.
Right. Now I say no, we are correct. But sometimes we see the same people who, all right, I'm a priest, but my role or initiation or ordination into the priesthood would have been under the shouters practice. All right. So within the shouter practice, shouter Baptists, as some call them, the shouters, I would have been the Orisha priest or the Orisha operative within that church. Now, other people have their way of doing their ordination or giving people a priesthood. But in Trinidad, how can we say, what if somebody who don't have a lineage or not part of a shrine or temple would like to be a person or a priest of Orisha, right?
But then now, if you want to go into that, then you're going to have to now differentiate the difference between a person who's an initiate into Ifa, who is a practitioner of Ifa Orisa, and a person who went through the local Isheshe, mourned, and was guided to walk the Orisha road. That because it's two distinct things we're talking about. So we're talking about a person, the local Isheshe, who was guided through the ritual of mourning to walk the Orisha road, versus a person who was initiated into Ifa and was given a particular principle Orisha as the governing Orisha. So you have to be very specific. Because you're talking about being part of spiritual Baptist and being the Orisha person.
No, Ice Kabbalah, Ice Orisha, Ice all kind of thing.
No, but I'm saying you have to differentiate between the two viewers.
So now somebody would have gone into the initiation of the inner chamber, which either say the ritual of atonement, which people refer to as mourning, which really came about in 1917 as a mourning really was a catchphrase and not really the name of the ritual. But one would go into the ritual of atonement and they would now be connected to the Orisha Ilu, the Orisha of their family lineage, or the Orisha Ile, the Orisha of that family bloodline. So they go say, they see Orisha, and then they could go back and say, yes, grandpa this or that one. The elders could tell any story of their connection with Orisha. Now, remember, the shrines, the temples, the churches was connected with a community. Now somebody like a leader here, this one good, they'll travel and go by quiet by this one, just a month for 3 days or 7 days and that. But let me know the thing. Now, for person receiving Orisha in which they are to connect with, it could be the Orisha of their family bloodline. Now, that don't necessarily say that person is to be a Orisha priest or priestess. All right? But they are connected and they should be a devotee of Orisha, and wherever else in their growth, well, they could reach the priesthood or priestess, but they are now to connect with Orisha as a devotee. Now,
yeah, but Baba, you're still confusing me because I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Now, you say they're connected to Orisha.
Well, going to different levels, right?
So does that mean now, if you have a Ifa Orisha shrine, that a person who mourned and was told that, look, you're following this ancestral line, and this ancestral line were devotees of Shango. So are you saying I could find a shrine of a Ifa Orisha shrine that is dedicated to Shango, and I would automatically be able to join that shrine, and my practice is going to be uniform and in line with what is practiced in that Shango Ifa shrine? Because I want to know if it's that you're saying. I want to be clear.
Well, I didn't bring it Ifa yet. But I say Ifa was already there because Ifa would be the principles, the words that governs Orisha. But that is a whole different subject for people because we have to have a conference.
Oh well, Baba, you raise it, and all I do is ask a question for clarity, not for myself and for the viewers too.
Right. So if it is you receive Orisha or you are identified as a bloodline of Orisha, and you decide to, okay, you put yourself to start to devote even. Now, it don't say you're a priest yet. Because to be a priest of Orisha, there's a growth. My great-great-grandmother, before she left Point 14, she had a pali on top of a hill in Point 14, and she used to keep Shango feast. Now, if you go in Point 40 now and I tell it had a hill here, you can't see a hill because where it is a savanna now. Right? So, but there is Orisha in my bloodline. There is family in Abeokuta which we connect to as from Orisha practice. And my father's side is Christian, that's where I get the Jesus and the Baptist from. But it is a bloodline, but it was about to be a priest. But in my journey and growth, it put me there. So all my brothers and them who's other things and by you on this set of spirit thing on it, because they maybe wasn't to pick up the journey, but they had the blood in them. They were not to take the role, but they had the blood in them. Even as my sister who realized, they say, well, there's something within her that she never recognized that she see now, because the same blood is in her. So one could grow and elevate to take the role as a priesthood. Now, a lot of people think because they know how to keep up prayers or do the prayers structure, they are priests. That has been my problem. Not because you know how they do the prayers, that really mean you're priests. Because you could do the prayer structure and then call a spiritual to just do it because this is what you know, but you don't know the proper ceremonial precepts that governs what you're doing. What is the energy that are functional? Now, one of the Orisha that say we have to start a thing with Ela, or Ela Iwori, because this is an energy that is significant in our growth as well as our initiation, because that is the spirit now that start to bring that level of understanding and connection to us. Now, if to understand that energy, we have to go to Ifa. But if we look at Ela, we'll see, well, wait now, this has been operating with us all the time in our spirituality. This has been with us, but we never really recognize it as that. That's what I say, people. Palara, always show you not to say Papaila or Paila, because we have a lot of mispronunciations. And if we look at certain characteristics, we can say, well, you know, we're saying this, but we're sure. So now when I go back to now, we're saying we don't have a priesthood. The priesthood means is institute where we know priests are guided by, or they are trained by, or they are prepared by. So if somebody wish in their initiation,
Baba,
in receiving Orisha, no,
Baba, I don't know. I have a little bit of a problem with that, and I think I will have it right through.
Yes, the history showed people used to just dream and they keep in feasts. Now you have people who are feast keeper. They are celebrating the Orishas of their family. They are celebrating the Orisha of the community.
All right, Baba, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. I mean, I don't know if I have it wrong.
Well,
most of the people who became monk bars.
But not today, right? You're talking about long time.
Hold on. Let me finish my question.
Let me show which one they talk about.
Most of them kind of work the way up through the ranks of starting drumming and singing, and then being parts of regular feasts, moving on to being the ones to raise the songs, then moving on to being the ones performing most of the opening rituals, and then eventually being full-scale mongbas, kind of on a full feast.
Okay. Now, firstly,
including sometimes doing the air boys.
Firstly, the reference of Mokba is really a Shango priest, right? So that's why they used to say Trinidad, when they identify Trinidad in the world, they don't identify us as Orisha worshippers, they Shango worshippers, right? Even if you look Wikipedia, still they have it still, even though we have Ifa and we have Babalawos, Trinidad, Shango worshippers.
There is a historical dimension to us being very early identified as Shango worshippers.
Yeah, that's it.
One of the main things that contributed to us being labeled as such is that despite the fact that we had mainly people coming from Nigeria, we also had many other West Africans coming here also, who were from different places like Sierra Leone, St. Helena, Benin. But what was strange about it is that most of them who ended up here were Shango worshippers. So what we end up here is with quite a few from different places who
Shango.
all venerated and worshipped Shango.
Shango, right? So that's it. So that why historically and even up to today, we are still recognized as Shango worshippers. So when we say Mugba, that's how our priests, our practitioners, our people who say that who does do the operation get the title Mugba, Shango priests, because they're expected to do the priest work of Shango. Now, the people who had it, now today you could question it, because now once you know the song and you could sing, you know the song from here to wherever and how they just sing it, and you know two-handed drum, they think they're Mugbas. Because I just watch them, I realize I can't correct them, so I just hush thing, and when I realize I had enough, I go. It's not knocking nobody. I saw somebody do a Thanksgiving, and I said, I told the person you're going to be doing a feast just so next time you're doing is a feast. He said, why? I said, well, when we time I will talk about that. Because the ritual he did was not a ritual of a Thanksgiving for a person who didn't even receive the Thanksgiving. It was inspired to give a thanks. But they did a ritual of a feast. And they invoke spirits into that ritual. So that ritual now commit somebody to a level in which they're not even ready for. But who's me? But if there was a structure order, okay, even we say
Baba,
we're
but
not taking away.
Don't feel like fighting you down and
No,
not
no,
saying
no,
that
no,
we
no,
don't
no,
need
no.
structure and order.
No, I know that. Remember
I with
conversation.
you on that, but my form of questioning and my sense of reasoning tells me, despite us not having a formal structure, we did have a structure.
No, now I say we had a social structure, because when I go in any yard, socially I am home. So I just get the full respect, and the same respect that's be given to me. So, Baba, you're staying, yeah, I get a place to sleep, I can get my coffee, I get things to eat and everything, and I'm welcome, because there was always a social, we always had, now we're seeing people ranking, they didn't have that, you know.
All right, Baba.
Social.
Baba, I see we go ahead and do our part two. We only have
Right.
8 more minutes.
All right, but
So
when I
I'll let
think,
you wrap up a little bit.
right, but as we go into this, one of the things, as you was talking about these things, we as a people, we have to come together and have not just small conversation. We must have a conference. We have elders who are passing their age, and we need to have something formal. Sit with them and let me rationalize and get something confirmed as to who we are as a people and how we're moving forward. Everybody else have the convention, everybody else have the conference, everybody else have their thing. As a nation, as a community, we have to sit. We have to bring all our babalaos, our mukbas, our elders, our egungun, sit. So when we talk about Ifa Orisa community, we can be truthful as to who we are and ensure all who are part of, because when we celebrate Isheshe, we celebrate Orisha, we celebrate Ifa, we celebrate our ancestors, we celebrate all the Oris that are practitioners of the tradition. All right?
All right, Baba.
I mean, it could cost $2-3 million, but I think they say some people in our tradition was blessed with a lot.
Let me just do a plug in here, and then we're gonna be right back to close off the show.
All right.
All right? Yeah. the street viewers who wish to continue to view streams.
All right. So as we continue our journey, we have people like, share, put all the comments in the questions in the comments, and let me continue to share. As I say, there's much to be done in our community. There's much to be done in laying the foundation for the younger ones. It's not that we are throwing away, or some people say throw away the baby in the wastewater, but no, we are going to add some little perfume and some flowers into the water so the baby could have a nice sweet bath. So in terms of, we need to really set a road forward with a plan, including those of the past, and be sure that the future has something, and we preserve, because we have to preserve we. It's good that we could talk about who was before, but we have to preserve us who are now. So we have to do something now, just as I say, to make the world a better place from what we were left with, so that we can pass on something that they can make it better with what we have added to it. Because this is the magic of Ifa.
All right, so viewers, remember to like, share, and subscribe. At the end of the video, another video is going to pop up. Please view that video also. And with that, we would like to say Odabo, and we would see you next Friday.
Bye.